Alright, so next I need to put the front on this chicken coop. So we're going to use some plywood for that purpose, and we're going to fill this in on this side with plywood. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take the measurement from the base to my door frame, to the inside of the door frame, and up here I want the length. So I'll get this L shape, if you will, so I know what those main dimensions are. Next, in order to measure the arc, I'm going to measure each of these cross pieces. For example, this one is at 64 inches, and then I'll measure from that one again to my door frame, which is 7 3/4, and I'll do that for each one of the rungs on the cattle panel, and then we will draw that out on our plywood and cut it. Alright, so I have drawn it out on the plywood, so I've got each one of the marks where my cross pieces are from the cattle panels all the way up to create that arc. So I have this drawn out. I did make a mistake on my measurements here, and I've remeasured and traced my line to get my arc on that side. So now I'm going to use the saw, this little jigsaw, and cut it out. After the measurements, I have one little space right here where it's just a little bit too tight. So what I'm going to do is just use the saw and trim this little area right here so that we can get plenty of room for it to clear the fence wire. That should do it. Clearing the door frame, clearing just touching these wires on the side. So with that in position, let me see if my door will go past it. Yes. All right. So now we're going to put this on. Alright, now just to screw this piece of plywood onto the door frame. So next we'll measure the other side and do the same thing. We'll get the number at the bottom down here. 32. My total height (66). So the door will have to come off again because we're going to end up screwing this on, but I just like to have the door on there so I can make sure everything fits, opens and closes well. So we'll take that off in just a minute. So on the edges, I've put in these U-nails or fence nails into the edge of the plywood, and then I'm coming back over the top and putting in a piece of plumbing strapping and a screw into the plywood to pull all of this nice and tight on the front, so you can't separate the wire. From the wood, and seals up the gaps and helps hold these front panels nice and secure. So just like that. So they're nice and tight. That is not going anywhere. So there's the front all put together. Put the door back in. Put the hardware on. Got the plywood front on there for windbreak in the front. So that is looking pretty good. The next step, oh yeah, by the way, I did get the screen. I put some chicken wire up here at the top to fill in that gap. And then next, I'm gonna make the windbreak on the back out of these poly panels. So we'll get started on that. And there we have it. There's the back with the poly sheets on it. So basically just laid the two sheets up there and then put a couple of holes with a drill around the metal so that we could run zip ties through there and hold the poly ties or the poly panels onto the back for a windbreak. So looks pretty good, works out very nice. Next step was to put in the roost. So I've cut and measured 2x2, those 2x2s that you saw earlier in our materials list, and I cut them to go straight across, all the way across here. They go all the way across side to side. Drill a hole in each end and pull a zip tie through there. Nice and quick and simple, easily replaced when they get warped or bent or broken. But they are all in there, and that is the roost set up at the end of the coop. So what I've also decided to do is down here at the bottom on the front where the plywood is I'm going to put 2x2 across there. That way it gives me something at the bottom to secure that plywood to, so it won't be warping and moving. So let me get that done next. Now we get to have fun with a tarp. So this is the tarp. This is a 12x16 tarp. We choose a white one for the summer months, and we'll get a darker one, probably black or gray or silver for the winter. But I buy these on Amazon. Good price. They're heavy-duty tarps, and they last really, really well. So next step, I'm going to get that put on the coop. So what we're going to do is lay it out over the top, and then I'm going to use those little hooks that we bought. These hooks right here, we'll screw these into the base frame, and we'll zip tie the tarp down to these. So it is almost finished. Got the tarp on, got the hooks on the bottom, including the larger pull hooks. Got the zip ties all the way around the tarp, holding it in place. The back is on. Last thing is I'm going to put a chicken door on it. So let's see if we can get that done today. Oh my goodness, it is another hot afternoon. I've just about finished building that chicken coop. If you haven't watched that video series on building our new mobile chicken tractor, be sure and check that out. This afternoon I'm going to be installing a new chicken door on that coop. So we're trying a different brand of this time. If you follow us on Instagram or on Facebook, you'll probably have seen our post. We had another brand of door that failed. The string got wrapped up in the motor, pulled it all the way up, and failed to close one night. And that was the one night. Coyotes got in, chickens gone. I think we lost 14 chickens that night out of all of our mobile portable chicken tractors. So found this brand online, haven't used it before, but I'm going to try it. This is called a can't even say it, Keybonics chicken door opener. Looks like it's pretty simple to install. I have already put the two pieces of the track together, so I know how that goes. And then we'll install the motor and the door. So next thing I've got to do is cut the hole on the coop and get ready to mount this sliders for the frame here, so that the door will slide up and down inside those tracks. So I'll get that part done next. So hopefully you can see this. What I've done on the inside here is made 4 holes and a square 12-inch high space there that I'm going to cut out with a saw. That's where the door opening is going to be. So we'll get the hole cut from the inside, and then we'll install the chicken door on the outside of this. Alright, so the door is installed. Just cut the opening, assembled the door frame, put the motor on it, and adjusted the door using the calibration settings on the timer. So this thing was really pretty simple to install. Not sure I will remember the directions, so I'm going to have to keep these. But doing the door calibrations and setting the different modes. So setting the time, the door calibration, and then the operating mode. It'll go from light to light. You can use a timer to start, open it, and a timer to close it. Or a light, it opens with the daylight and then closes with a timer. Right now I've got it set for testing from light to light, or daylight till dark. So we'll test that out and see how it goes. Followed the calibration instructions for calibrating the door, and so we are all set. So the door calibration is set, and hopefully this thing will open and close as it should tonight. We will find out. Let's see what it looks like from the inside. Just a hole. So the only thing different on this one, I wish I had known, was the placement of that little stop plate at the bottom, or threshold. So because of the way I cut the door, like I've cut them with all the other ones, and just thought that this one would be the same. It wasn't quite the same. So the hole, the opening in the door was just a little bit too long. Most of them are 12. This one's actually a little bit shorter. So I end up with just a small gap at the bottom, which is no big deal. The predators, or that can eat chickens, are still not going to get in there. So I'm not worried about it. But just keep that in mind to cut that opening the right size. But it is installed and ready to operate. One of the things I like about this motor is the battery compartment is right here on the side. So that just pops open and pops closed, keep them dry, keep the weather out. The other units that we've had, I have to take this control face off. This whole thing has to come off with the 4 screws on the corners. So I kind of like that door better, or at least the motor better. So we'll find out. We'll let this operate for a day or two before we get some chickens moved into it, and this coop is ready to go out in the field and ready for use.